Now, today marks 5 months since the Maui wildfires. In that time, major strides made in the push toward recovery. Plus, it's a new year, and with it, a renewed push to make Hawaii a better place. So joining me this morning in studio to talk more about the year ahead is Governor Josh Green. Good morning, Governor. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
Let's start with Maui. As we mentioned, today marks 5 months since the wildfires happened. I know major strides have been made. You just extended that proclamation and announced a new interim housing plan. That was last week, Friday. We've been talking about it all morning, which is going to bring modular units to Kahului. I know you worked with a lot of different parties on Maui to make this happen.
Yes.
And a lot of support, but we're also seeing some criticism. What would you like to say to the critics?
Just that I support them, really. The parties we put together, it's one hui of really great people to bring $500 million to the housing problem that we have. As everyone knows, there's very few houses available even before the fire on Maui. And so when we lost housing for 3,000 families, we had to reach out and go further. So we created an alliance between myself, Mayor Bisson, Hawaii Community Foundation, CNHA, and FEMA, all together with the Red Cross, putting $500 million to rent the short-term rentals into a long-term rental space. We need 1,500 at least. I don't want to put too much pressure on that industry, but I will tell you this. There are 27,000 short-term rentals on Maui. We need at least 10% of those to move into the long-term market so we can care for our local families. So that $500 million will do that, plus we'll be building. So for the next 18 to 24 months, we have housing for people that have to come out of those hotels. There's still 2,400 families that need that help. It was 3,000 at one point, and it's getting smaller. But I support them. I support those who are Lahaina strong, and I appreciate the push that they've made, because they're right. We have to get that amount of inventory to our local people.
Now, some criticism about it has been that, of course, it's in Kahului, which would mean you're taking West Maui families moving up to Central Maui. Is there any potential to be able to put maybe some temporary housing on the west side?
Absolutely, we're doing that. That's just one small piece of it. That's just 34 of the units. We hope to have over time 5 separate small villages that get created. I think that people only sometimes hear part of the story. Most of the shifted short-term rentals to long-term rentals will be in West Maui. Some people will, of course, opt to go into different parts of the island where there are jobs. But we will do everything we can to accommodate every family, especially if people have kids and they have to send them to school in West Maui. I was there both Friday and Saturday, and look, it is an incredibly difficult situation. Our hearts were broken, we lost loved ones, but we're now moving forward so that we can get housing for everybody, hopefully by March 1st into long-term settled, housing. Mm-hmm. It might take a little longer, but we're really gradually moving people there. There's also 430 families that can return to their homes that weren't damaged, just they were concerned because of air quality. This is a priority for us. You'll see this in the legislative session this year. There will be a lot of work and resources put towards disaster preparedness globally. I will continue to fight for a climate impact fee so we have monies to do this and more for not just Maui, but for Waikoloa and just all across the state. We have fires here on Oahu on the west side. We have challenges everywhere. So while this is our largest immediate challenge, and that being caring for the families on West Maui, we're going to focus on all the challenges we had before the fire, which are housing, homelessness, affordability, and so on.
Now, another question has been, why not include a stipulation to eliminate those rental price hikes in that wildfire proclamation? So anything you'd like to say for that? Well,
we have that. Again, people, I don't blame them because they're not policy wonks and they can't be expected to track that kind of thing. But we have all kind of prohibitions on gouging. We have price freezes in place. Now, I can't say that some people don't break the rules or break the law, but we are cracking down on that. We put prohibitions on any kind of predatory behavior to take or steal the land from the local Lahaina people. We've done all those things. But when there are protests, sometimes it is because people have been hurt and because they understandably have distrust in government going historically way back. But can I be quite honest? Mm-hmm. The reason I came to Hawaii was to care for local families as a doctor in Ka'u. My wife is Hawaiian, my children are Hawaiian. I love the Hawaiian people. There's nothing that's going to prevent me from from protecting people when they've been hurting. It's just a natural reaction to government and authority sometimes. And so I understand it. But I'm doing all that I can to get houses to people. And again, I'll say I respect people who speak up, because that does help give some extra energy to the guys in Washington. Washington, D.C. then hears that we're fighting for housing. So that's a big part of the plan. That $500 million will also be connected to another $450 million for more long-term housing. Because after about 2 years, when we don't have support from the federal government to pay these rents, because we're going to pay all of the rent, whether you were FEMA eligible or not eligible, like people from COFA states and so on. When that happens, we're going to have enough housing to let people transition. So it's a lot of work for the next couple years.
And I know we'll, of course, be having more and more talks on recovery as we make our way through the year. But as you just mentioned, another thing that's close to your heart is healthcare here in Hawaii. Right now, one of the stories we've been covering all morning is that contract, that union battle we're seeing play out with Kapi'olani Medical Center and the nurses there. How do we fix Hawaii's healthcare worker shortage?
Yes, the way we fix it, and we started it already on September 9th, we launched a program called HELP, which is full loan forgiveness for any healthcare worker in the state, ranging from social workers to nurses, nurse practitioners, physicians, everybody. We did the first 500 scholarships already. We're going to do another 500 to 800 in July, August. That decreases the debt, erases the debt at about $50,000 per person per year. And over the course of 5 years, we will actually have a surplus of healthcare workers, so that it is easier to attract people to our state, the health state. And so maybe it's a little less likely that there will be conflict between, say, hospitals and unions. I respect both. It's very valuable for people to be able to organize, but also the hospitals, of course, they have to keep continuity of care. So I don't take sides, but I will say this: I'll do my part to make it very attractive for healthcare people to come in practice in Hawaii. Plus, the reason we're doing that is because the commitment we get from our healthcare workers, our local workers, we prioritize them, the local kids that graduate from med school and nursing school. They have to commit to taking care of those who are on Medicaid. And 465,000 of our people are on Medicaid, which is a huge part of our society, those who can't afford their own health care at the time. That's what we have to do to make sure people are well, so there aren't health disparities between different ethnicities. So we're already the healthiest state in the country. We're about to launch way ahead of every other state. And so I thank our healthcare heroes for sticking it out.
And of course, you are getting ready to do your State of the State in a couple of weeks here. What can we expect there? I'm sure we're going to cover some Maui recovery, maybe addressing the healthcare shortage, but anything else that's on that agenda?
Yes, I'll talk about the changes we're going to make to the homeless initiatives. John Mizuno's into the position now. He's a terrific old friend of mine. We're going to really supercharge Kauhale for the year. We're going to keep the emergency proclamations in place on housing so that we can get housing along the rail and in the urban core. We're going to talk about gun violence, and I'm going to talk about how grateful I am to the people of Hawaii for sticking together. And then, of course, we're going to talk about disaster preparedness, because it's a new era. With climate change, we have to protect ourselves and prepare. So that's kind of the arc of what I'll share, and maybe I'll have a couple surprises too.
And that is January 22nd that you'll be doing that State of the State.
Yes, I think at about 10 in the morning.
Okay, so stay tuned. We will have all of those details as we get closer to that, but thank you so much, Governor, for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
We're going to take a quick break. We'll be right back.